Hey everyone, this is Srini. I am the co-founder of Neochain. We are building AI analysts for healthcare supply chain. Each organization has about 5 to 10 supply chain analysts per each of the functions shown here, and for more complex functions like sourcing, they have 20 plus. Our product helps each of these function analysts with their day-to-day tasks. So what is the difference between each of them, right? Like why are they different? Let's take sourcing for example. It has about 200 plus types of input files that needs to be analyzed, and the data is typically changing on a daily or weekly basis. And the analysis data will need to be pulled from different sources and will need to be repeated multiple times. But all of this data that is sourced once is just stored on someone else's computer without going out of it. So what we are doing is we are setting out to solve this problem. Each AI analyst you see here is trained on their domain specific templates. For our MVP, for example, we have trained our sustainability analyst on three types of analysis templates. So let's get into the demo. We are basically organizing the work by uh, project. So you create a project and you can choose the analyst that you want to assign your project to depending on the type of analysis you are performing. So I am uploading a masked data set here, and fun fact is the masked data set, I used the same tool to prepare the masked data set. So let's go ahead and upload it. So this dataset that I'm uploading, it's essentially a group purchasing organization's dataset. So basically they have a lot of vendor data, but this one is specifically focused on sustainability, and we are going to perform a sustainability analysis on this data. So let's start by pasting a query, and I can go through the chat interface. So as you can see here, we have a chat interface, and analysts can use natural language queries to perform their analysis through this interface. So if you look at here, the Excel file that we uploaded basically has about 15,000 rows and 87 columns. And this is a pretty huge Excel file. And this is one of the templates that we have trained our sustainability agent on, and it knows how to understand this Excel and parse this Excel, and essentially perform whatever analysis that you want on this Excel. So there are a few things that are happening here. So you can notice that there is this detecting ambiguities step that is going on. So what that is we have built an ambiguity detection framework where we use the LLM to disambiguate user query and perform column mapping. And to do this, we also use the domain data that we have trained on. So, and only it will ask you questions only if it could not resolve it with confidence. So in this case, we have said something like, hey, do it by category, right? But there are two categories. What should you do? So let's give it. Similarly, we are saying cost savings, and looks like there are four columns that relate to savings. So it is asking us what to use. So let's do performance type. Similarly, there are a few columns that contains catalog numbers, like the SKU numbers from vendors. So it is asking what should I use. So let me give this one, right? So what happens is now you can see that it has resolved all of this, and it will essentially take this and it will use for its analysis from going forward. So let's wait for the results. Cool. So you can see that there is a summary here. So it is saying, hey, we have exam gloves, which is having 1.18 million for buying implants, all that. Let's look at the actual results and see if it is true. Yep. So you see that there is exam gloves and it has cost savings of close to 1.18 million. And as you can see here, it has taken into consideration all of the things that we called out. There are a few things that are happening here. Let's go through the data and see one by one. So the first and foremost thing is it has essentially reduced the 15,000 row Excel file into 36 rows grouped by columns. So how it has done that is it knows a few things about the template that we train. For example, the current EP score and future EP score are essentially averages of different columns in the original Excel file, and they are averaged out and put here. And EP shift is actually a generative column, that is the difference between a future EP score and a current EP score. So it knows things like this from the domain context templates that we provided to it as part of its training process. This is specific to the sustainability agent, and a different agent would have different set of templates and it will support different types of analysis. So let's export this data and see. Okay, so you can see this, it is exporting the way you would like it, things like that. But this is not something that you can just mail to your category manager or use in presentation. That's why we want to support formatting options. Let's add a new set of formatting rules to this data that we did. So for demo purposes, I am adding this as a follower, but we expect the users to essentially configure it at an organization level so that all the analysts could use the same format without having the need to add it one by one for each analysis and they'll look the same. So let's wait for the formatting to happen. Okay, we are done. So let's look at the output Excel file. You can see that it's basically applied every single format that we asked for, right? Like things are in Calibri 12 and you have category in gray and your headers are done. So this is something you could actually just mail to your category manager or just use it in presentation. Of course, we plan to add features like export to PPT or just sharing this analysis with someone so that they can just use it, things like that. But we want to make the output of this analysis as close to some Excel or any other analysis that you would do by your hand so that whatever we get out of this is readily usable. So the other thing is we also have certain analytics that are shown here. So you can see that we have some graphs that are generated. This is still very early. We have to work with our customers to understand the different types of graphs and things like that that needs to be supported, and we will add support for it. And that's the demo. And thank you for listening to me. Bye.